Hello, everybody. How are you doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well as well. And today I'm very excited to talk about Clutch. Clutch is a visual page builder, but it has some different things. And today we're talking with Matthew and Bruno about Clutch. And I'm very excited to see and understand what their vision is, what their mission is, but also uh, what headless actually means. And also the history. How did they come across it? So I will invite both of them on screen right now, and I hope you're excited about it as well. Hello, Matthew and Bruno. How are you doing this evening?
Hey Lex, yeah, can't complain.
Hello.
You both can complain. That's very nice. So let's start off with a little bit of introduction. Who are you? What do you do at Clutch? Would love to know you both more. Let's start off with Matthew.
Yeah, I'm the co-founder. Basically, sold my agency a while back. We were building WordPress and Drupal sites, and just frustrated with the options. We started kind of dabbling in Webflow a bit, and then thought, man, I wish that I had a tool like this that was this expressive, but that I could connect onto WordPress, Drupal, the backend that I want, so I'm not locked in. And so, yeah, that's how my part of the journey got started. And then I started looking for somebody else to go on the quest with me, and found Bruno through GitHub. And that's probably a good segue to your intro, Bruno.
Yeah, name is Bruno, co-founder CTO at Clutch. My journey, I think, starts like 15 years ago, doing a lot of WordPress plugins and themes, but at the same time, getting a lot of frustration with the amount of customization people would want and what WordPress was lacking. And I've seen all these templates doing page builders, theme builders, and all of that, but it's like a never-ending chase. And so that's pretty much where started this open source Relax project that then lead to getting to know Matthew, and then we started Clutch.
That's really awesome, and that you guys know each other from GitHub. That's that's really funny. How did it work out? How did you meet each other via GitHub?
Well, I knew that I was going to do this. I knew that I was going to sell the agency and use the proceeds to fund. And I knew that this wasn't going to be cheap, because obviously you start looking at a tool like Webflow and it's massive. So I was like, surely somebody's gotten a head start on this. And so I just start searching through GitHub. This is back before we had GPT, so I was doing it the good old fashioned way. And one day I get an email, because I guess it started figuring you out. It knew the kind of repos I was looking at, so it started giving me the GitHub Discover email that you would get from things you've started, and it said you might be interested in these repos, and it was like things I had seen a bunch, and then one of them was Relax, and I was like, what's this? And I clicked on it, and it was this project that Bruno had been working on, and I'll let Bruno introduce that whole thing. But it was growing, it was gaining all these stars. It was open source. I downloaded it, I ran it, and it was a visual builder, all right. But I was like, it's got everything, but all that I really want is the visual builder. We need to separate what he's built from the back end. So I tried to reach out to him, but he didn't respond. He's playing hard to get. And so then I was like, well, okay, fine, I'll sponsor the project. Then he'll be forced to respond. So I sponsored his project, and then he finally responded. And then I just thought he would be like somewhere in the United States. I didn't know where he was going to be. So I was like, we should get together, whatever. And then that's whenever he was like, I'm in Portugal. And I was like, let's still do it. So, but Bruno, go ahead.
That's really nice. What was the project?
It was pretty much that. Relax started as like from that frustration about having to create a page builder, and everyone is creating basically duplicate work. I started working on these like CMS, kind of a replacement for WordPress entirely, built on top of GraphQL and new like technologies. It was an open source project that started getting some traction, and I did work on it. I just stopped working on my WordPress templates and so on that were actually doing pretty good, and decided to not make money and start Relax as an open source. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And
also
Matthew contacted
Jose,
me. I went to the States, and I think we got along pretty nicely. We had a shared vision on what could be the future, and yeah, rest is history.
We also had Jose on our team, who was part of that original team. I think you and he worked together. Is that right?
Yeah. He was working with me, helping also on that open source project. He did have a full-time job at the time and continued to have it for a while, and then he joined back eventually to Clutch.
Yeah, so he's been a critical part of the team the whole time. So we actually got both of the OGs that we're working on Relax over time. And then I was able to sell the agency. At first I didn't. So at first the agency, this was a little skunkworks project at the agency. So Burno came into the agency here in Houston. It's just a cool agency, espresso machine, the concrete floors, the whole vibe. And we would go around and there'd be everybody doing building projects either in Drupal, WordPress, or Webflow. So it was really kind of nice, and I kind of missed it because we could walk around that room and observe people's frustration with their existing tools, and then we would release versions of Clutch to them, and then they would give us very rapid feedback. But eventually, it became unsustainable. I think I had invested a few $100,000 of the agency's money into funding Clutch. We're basically funding Burno because Clutch was just Burno at that time. And eventually my partners were like, you're siphoning all of our profits to the Skunkworks project. We don't share the vision that this thing is going to be huge. So I was like, I will sell to the two of you guys at the agency. I'll sell you all the agency. I'm getting out of here. So, we did. That was a whole lengthy process, but we got the agency sold. And then I was able to write the first check from that transaction. And I found myself for the first time in like 12 years, not having an actual real job. And I'd never seen a bunch of money in my life. I'm a high school dropout from like Oklahoma, like the middle of nowhere. I sold the agency and I was like, oh my goodness, look at all this money. And then I just like gave the check a kiss and then put it into the account with Burno. And I was like, all right, let's hopefully not fail. So anyways, and then we get going, and then the team kind of slowly grew, but we immediately decided this thing needed to be headless. And then it was kind of funny. One of the very first conversations was, should it be React or Angular? That'll give you a hint of how long we've been working on it. Because React at the time that we started working on this was not the de facto standard. Next.js didn't exist back then. So, but we did make those decisions. It's going to be React based. It should be Webflow, but the Legos that you assemble to the final product should just be React components. That was kind of a big one. So we wanted anybody to be able to assemble sites using their own, using components using standard React components. And then Next.js came along, and we saw one of our biggest struggles was data connections. And we saw that if we use Next.js, that you could actually have data components. And then that's kind of this last iteration that we've been working on.
It's really awesome to see going from agency, having a bunch of money, don't know, have a clear vision as well to what to do with it as well. And it's nice to hear that you have met each other. You mentioned Next.js. What is Next.js? Could you explain that?
That's a CTO question. You're on mute, I think.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Essentially a framework to allow you to create fast, dynamic websites that operate on the edge. And this is great, especially for sites that you want to deliver across the world, because it essentially means that if I'm in Portugal, I'm accessing a website. If the website can be served from Lisbon or from London or close to me, it's gonna be delivered a lot faster. And this is a common issue and one of the benefits about using Clutch, because it basically generates a Next.js app. It's exactly that, and something that WordPress does struggle a lot with, since WordPress is pretty monolithic. meaning every request needs to go to one singular place, unless you have caching systems that spread all that pages across the world as well. But there's a lot of complexity and usually a cost associated with that too.
I see. So it's kind of like a CDN, I can assume, or
Well, what I think about it that's really cool about it is Cloudflare, for example, is the one that a lot of WordPress folks use. So you still have you have a cloud server. A cloud server is like an edge server is like a whole bunch of cloud servers. But a cloud server is like you pick your location, you pay money, they host it somewhere. If you're in Europe, you probably buy a European cloud server. If you're in the States, you buy one Virginia East or wherever from AWS. Now you've got your little cloud server. All the requests from around the world, so hopefully your requests are from America, have to route there. So what's the solution? We all go by Cloudflare.
Yeah.
Cloudflare, then you put your DNS to point to Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare points to that one server. So now all the requests are hitting Cloudflare's CDN network, but it is storing a cached copy of the site. So you start to really struggle if your website has any dynamism whatsoever, because now you'll make a save on WordPress. WordPress now has to either send a signal or you have to wait for the time to live to run out. And then it starts expiring all over the place. So it makes it really difficult. So basically the value of Cloudflare, if you just have a static site and it never updates, whatever, like throw it behind Cloudflare, who cares? But if you do have an e-commerce experience or something like that, it starts to more and more struggle to be both cached on the CDN and be dynamic at the same time. So that's where the edge came in. It was like fully dynamic, but at the speed of a cache. Because what they've done is they said, well, rather than having 200 cache locations around the edge, around the globe, we'll actually just run the actual website on all those 200 locations. So whenever you push to the edge, it's like pushing a copy of your site onto the actual Cloudflare edge nodes or onto the network edge nodes. And it can run dynamically now, but at that same speed. And then they've come up with these other technologies without going too deep into it, like incremental static regeneration and whatever, but it basically means where they have sub-page caching. So it's like not even the whole route has to get blown out. Like pieces of the page can be fully dynamic and pieces of the page can be fully static. And if you hit the save button, say in WordPress, we send a signal to expire that little piece of cache, and just a little part of the page will be flagged on all the edge nodes to be regenerated on the next request. So, and then all of this stuff can be done completely transparently to the user. So with us, they can just publish their site and not worry about it. And they get this caching and edge technology that frankly is not even going to be possible. I don't care how much you configure WordPress, and that's going to just trigger everybody when they hear that. They already got onto me for claiming that Clutch has better performance. But you can achieve all of this with no plugins. You don't need any performance plugins in your WordPress at all. So all the ones that you're currently using, you can get rid of. WordPress is just going to be a simple API. You don't need probably nearly as many security plugins either, because that API can kind of be hidden and tucked away, not on the public internet. They're hitting our site, which is connecting, and then we're handling all of the caching and we're handling all of the cache management. So it just kind of takes that whole layer of complexity that sucks, and it just makes it not a thing that you have to worry about anymore.
Makes it so much easier. I can imagine that you don't have to set up Next.js yourself, and that it is managed through Clutch.
It can be, or you can self-host it, but then that's not even getting into the fact that once you are actually dynamic at the edge. So for Cloudflare to cache an image, you have to give Cloudflare an image that's compressed. So people have image compression and optimization plugins in their WordPress that they're managing. We don't, because we're dynamic at the edge. The request to go get the image goes to the edge, and it's running Node.js, and it actually compresses the image at the edge for you. It compresses your scripts. It optimizes your fonts. All of these things happen dynamically at the edge, so you're not having to worry about any of them. And that, to me, that's where it should be, because I think they should be spending all of their time focused on designing a better site. All this crap that we're doing, worrying about your images being optimized or how you did your script or did you put too many fonts, that should all be not a worry. Not in 2025.
Those things should be handled through the application and don't necessarily need extras. You also mentioned that you could use WordPress as for the APIs, and you mentioned headless before. I imagine those two sync up a little bit. Could you explain a little bit what how that actually works and what headless is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think it's one of the probably hard things to get, because usually, um, people are kind of using WordPress to do everything in WordPress, and WordPress manages it all. And this headless concept is rather, I'd say, rather new to people, but it does have a lot of advantages. And one of them is this kind of delivery that we just talked about, delivery on the edge, close to your users. And being that with the Clutch plugin, we handle all the caching and ensuring your users are getting the most dynamic and latest data. But also being able to connect to your own APIs, for example, connect to or submit data to Zapier or to directly to basically any services that you might know. You don't need to have it pass through WordPress necessarily. You don't need to pay for this and that plugin just to submit data into or send emails or whatever. And also, custom APIs are pretty, I think, necessary for bigger projects, since they're going to need very advanced or customized flows. So Clutch itself isn't built only for WordPress. It is actually that you can connect to anything. So what we did was build ourselves super well, connected libraries, so that it is super easy to connect WordPress data. But we did before with other stuff, with Shopify. We have tests to submit and get data from a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. So yeah, don't know if you want to add anything to that, Matthew.
I think over time we'll have a large library of data connectors. We have Google Sheets, not Excel spreadsheet. We do have Google Sheets.
Yeah.
We're both tired. We've been both working really late. But we have Google Sheets. We have Zapier, so you can have a form, post it to Zapier. Why go through WordPress at all for that? And then Zapier can put it anywhere that you want. And we're just going to have more. So you'll just have more options. And then we're going to soon be releasing where your forms, you can query today, and it's got a whole interface where you can pick and choose things from WordPress to pull data in, and you'll have the same thing to post data back. So rather than pay all this money for a forms plugin, you can just go create a custom post type and call it contact form submissions. And then
we do have some support, and we'll keep adding support to certain plugins like Contact Form 7 and others that we know WordPress community is used to, and we keep hearing from our community on what they need, what they're used to, what their clients are used to. That's kind of the most important thing, because you can be using Zapier and all these kind of new tools, but if your end user doesn't like it and wants to use Contact Form 7 or wants to use something else, you should be able to do that and not be limited by Clutch or by WordPress, actually.
Yeah, so that you're enabling people to use their favorite kind of tool to create the forms as well. Is there a way in Clutch to build that as well in Clutch itself?
So we do have, one of the coolest things is we decided from the very beginning, we just wanted to be vanilla. Like, we didn't want to make a bunch of new SDKs that you need to learn. So by standardizing on Next.js and React, if there's a component that you're missing, you want some confetti to shoot out, you want to use Spline 3D, I don't really care what it is. Well, if there's a React component for it, you can just use it in Clutch. It's not a big deal. And people have found that very freeing, because a lot of people are, if you're using a different visual builder and you're missing a part, you're kind of SOL. Or you have to learn some complicated SDK. In ours, it's like you can actually use like Shadson CLI, which is what V0 uses. You can totally vibe code a component. That might be a fun demo to do today. We can vibe code a component and then just import it into Clutch and use it. Like, it just works. Like, we're going to make that much easier. But that's where we started going. We could make the whole internet your Lego set. Find a cool Lego on a website. Yeah, just use it. Like, and then now you have it. And what's cool about it is it's not like it becomes usable to you in code. It actually reads the code and then gives you a nice properties panel with all the properties from the code, because we read TypeScript. And then that gets into data queries. So you have some forms plugin, you have something you want to use. Fine, go open up, Copilot, Cursor, Windsurf, like whatever your AI of choice is. We don't care. The file system's on your computer. You can just have it, cursor the code right in and give it a prompt. Say, hey, can you write me a data connector that's a server action, which is a standard that it knows because it's Next.js. And it knows how to write a Next.js standard server action. Like most AI out there now knows how to do that very well. Well, that means that it knows how to write one for Clutch as well. And so it'll write you a data connector for anything in like one prompt. And then you can drag the data connector onto the canvas and bind it to your interface. And whenever people see that, they realize, okay, we don't even have to wait for the Clutch team to unblock us. We can just with the power of an AI and the fact that Clutch built their whole tool only on standards that even an AI knows, that really the sky's the limit. So we've had at least 10, 15 people in our community start to unblock themselves. We had one guy who is pretty active. His name is Special Ed, but he's actually a pretty smart guy. But he's in our community, and he's actually managed to get Clutch connected to Payload CMS. So he's like in the community, like, WordPress is dead to me. Everybody should be using Payload. And we didn't even have to do much. He figured that out himself. He just installed Payload because Payload's compatible with Next.js, which means it's compatible with Clutch. He installed it in. He got the whole thing working. And today he's posting screenshots and videos from that and trying to convince everybody that Payload's the way to go. So
we did
really,
we did some projects connected to Notion even. That's a cool way to write up docs, for example, or have internal documentation or whatever.
That's really funny that you can, with one simple tool, which enables you to use React, using the properties and then connecting all kinds of different applications to one tool. That's really amazing, actually. And something that I've been missing within WordPress. You are so into one ecosystem that you cannot go out of. You need to know how to write the PHP right now to get something to work. Because you need to do database queries and you need to set it up all. But having this enabled, it really opens up a lot. You mentioned Notion, you mentioned Google Sheets, maybe Excel, even if there's an API for it, I guess. But I can also see Airtable working for this. If you want to do it in spreadsheets, that would also be a possibility. I can imagine.
Absolutely.
It's
actually, and what's crazy is it's not like it's a possibility and it's going to take you 2 days. It's a possibility probably in 3 to 4 roles with an AI. A lot of times I'll one shot it. A lot of times you can just one shot it and it works. Worst case, the API kind of sends back an error code, and then you just copy that and send it to the AI and go, hey, I got this error code back. And if you use a good AI, it'll be apologetic. Like, oh, I'm so sorry that I messed up my response. Let me give you a new one. And then, but it'll, in 2-3 rounds, now you got a data connector that's working really well. And then you can start going like, okay, well, then I want to have a filter. I want to make it to where I can search. I want to do that. It'll keep rewriting. But when it does it, and it does it in TypeScript, the filter will be typed. And so the actual filter just shows up in the UI. So now you've got a search filter. Then you go, I want to do like next page. It'll code a next page for you. That will show up in Clutch for you. So it's the fact that our UI, the designer UI, because we like to say we take React and make it designer friendly.
Yeah, nice.
But our UI is powered directly by the code, and AIs write code. So therefore, the AI is building you a designer-friendly Lego that you can turn your designer brain on or give it to a designer, and they can just start assembling.
So if you are more of a coder, you can also make adjustments to pages and that sort of things using React, or is that a little bit closed, or how can I see that?
So the components are 100%. You can write any React component that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you could make pages and you can make layouts. Though if you write the page or the layout in code, Clutch is like, that's yours. That's on you.
Okay.
If you make the page in Clutch, then Clutch is like, I made this page. And we kind of have to do that because there's too many different ways. I mean, there's Pages Router, there's App Router. There's too many different ways that you could make a page, different syntaxes and whatever. So we did have to kind of say at some point, you have to treat Clutch like the green Lego brick that's at the bottom. You know, the big green base plate. We say Clutch is like that thing. That's like, let us do that part. And then go get your Legos, go to the store, buy all the Legos you want and start assembling them. But you can compose your pages and your layouts in Clutch. You can put components onto that screen. You can code your own components. And if you do, we read the TypeScript and then give you the designer-friendly interface. Or you can actually compose components in Clutch. But again, it's the same kind of thing. If you compose the component in Clutch, it's owned in Clutch so that we can make sure that you don't screw up the syntax and break it. If you make it in code, that's on you. But then remember that code components can consume other code components, and composed components can consume code components, and composed components can consume other composed components, and so you're never limited. People always freak out by that. I'm like, you're never limited. And then one last thing is our composed components do add some things that you usually don't get. So for example, you can create a component like a design system component, like a button, and you can put variants on it. So you can have a small variant, a large variant, a danger type, a warning type, and it's all exactly like Figma. So designers can go in and design these crazy complex design systems with all these different variations on them. And what's cool that we figured out how to do, and it's another testament to using server components, is that you can actually compose them with completely different compositions, and it doesn't balloon your page size. Usually in a visual builder, like even Framer does it this way, if you compose components with different compositions, it actually just hides. So if I create a button and I stick an icon in it, and then I make another variation, I say I don't want the icon, you'll see it hidden, but it's still there because they have to make one component out of all the different variations, but it ultimately has to boil down into one. We don't have that limitation. We actually basically have a gigantic switch statement, for a lack of a better description. But since it's all compiled on the server before it's sent to you, you only end up getting delivered back the one that you need. So you could make a component where you have a series of headers, and all those headers are designed completely different with completely different elements. But the way that we do it, it's still performant. And where that ends up being really cool is that then whenever you go to design your pages, you can drag that header out, choose variation 3, and it'll reorient itself to look like variation 3. And then you just have fields that you fill in to make that header. And then where that becomes really, really cool is what we're releasing in the next couple of weeks. This is a shout out to our boy Luis from our team who's working on this feature. You got 1 week. We're announcing it today. In 1 week, you're gonna have this feature.
Pressure.
I get in trouble for this constantly. So in like a week, we'll have it ready for you. If an engineer tells you 2 weeks, that means an eternity. That's their code word for I have no freaking clue how long this is going to take. But anyways, we're going to be releasing Gutenberg Sync. So now you'll compose your component in Clutch. You'll put the properties on it that you want. It's a header. Okay. Well, what type? Well, it's a header 1, header 2, hero 1, hero 2. It takes a title, takes an image, takes some text, whatever. So you do all that in Clutch, and now you have a component that's composed and ready to go, and it's designed exactly how you want. That will then show up in Gutenberg as a block. So whenever you go add it and then you fill it out, when you click save, it now synchronizes into Clutch. And now you have full control to design your Gutenberg blocks. A lot of people have a lot of hate for Gutenberg. We think that the idea is actually really good, and a lot of other content management systems go off this concept of a schema, like a block that's powered by a schema. I think the problem with Gutenberg is that it sucks to create the blocks. Yeah. There's no nice block editor. So what you have are Elementor and these types of things where you can go design these GUIs, and then you've got Gutenberg, and it's just in this weird limbo. Like nobody quite knows how the piece fits or how to use it. But I actually think it's really badass. If you could just design out a gigantic library of blocks, and that's what you gave your end customer, so that whenever they go into the content editor, they're having to use blocks that aren't insane, Gutenberg would be really cool. It's the fact that though, whenever you go to insert a Gutenberg block, it looks like it came from somebody else's website. It's randomly yellow and in a cursive font, and there's like some girl dancing on it. Like, what the hell is this block doing in here? What's this? It's a plumbing website. Why is there a girl in high-end fashion? like dancing on this block that they just inserted with cursive letters. So really, it's just that it's a fantastic idea from and actually decent execution as far as the actual underlying bones of the editor goes. It's the fact that they didn't think about locking it down so that the end customer is receiving a custom Lego set for their website.
Yeah.
It's like infinite Legos. I mean, even Lego doesn't sell you like Star Wars and Harry Potter. It's not like a crossover episode. It's like you buy the Harry Potter Legos. Here's the Star Wars Legos. They just need nicer separation and an easier ability to craft the pieces. So that's what we're going to bring. In fact, whenever you install Clutch, we turn off all of the other Gutenberg blocks, and we're like, use the one that came from the person who built your site. That's what the content editor will get.
That's really nice. I can see this working really well for people that want to not overwhelm their users. It's something that I have at my job right now. I'm working as a WordPress specialist, and there we build with Elementor. And Elementor is great for building websites if you do it yourself. But whenever you're building something, and they need to make changes themselves because they want to get their content in and whatsoever, it's easy for them to break everything because it's not locked down enough to make it easier. And copy and pasting things can be done wrongly. So if you are trying to copy a what's called a div, for example, it's not called a div, but when you copy it over, you didn't select the proper one, then it destroys everything. I also see a question here from Kasturi Deepak. I hope I pronounce your name right. And he's asking, what if we self-host like in VPS? Does all the CMS data handling will work or only static site? I guess they're trying to ask if you can self-host this Clutch on a VPS or something else, and how the data handling will be done there.
You can self-host inside your VPS. So it's a Next.js app, so you'll need some Node.js environment to host it. And if the CMS or if your WordPress instance is inside the same VPS, it should all work.
You could actually get like extra secure. You could do a local connection between Clutch and the and WordPress, and then your WordPress itself would not even be on the internet. Now you could really just run it open and not worry about
it's just for internal. Yeah.
So run it locally via local WP, you mean, and then having the connection there, or?
Well, Clutch needs a connection string to connect to get the data. And what we're saying is if you put them on the same server, technically you could have Clutch connect over localhost on that hosted server. So the node instance that's hosting the website could be the only publicly addressable bit, and then Clutch could connect locally to WordPress. So it'd actually create a very even more secure way to do it. And then you just have to like VPN into your VPS to make your WordPress updates. But that'd be a cool way to do it. Long story short, though, without going down a weird rabbit hole, totally possible.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless, is what I can see and what can imagine with this. It's
to make it short for everybody. Once you buy the pro version of Clutch, there's a button, and in fact, it was available for free because we just like pushed the feature out and forgot to even lock it down. Because listen, we're not making some website where it's like, oh, if you want to use the tool, you've got to sign up and be a part of some club or give us your money or anything. If you want to use it, just go use it. Like, we're just happy that people are actually wanting to use it, and we're just so thankful for everybody's feedback. I just knocked my headphones down. But we're just so happy that people actually want to use it and give us feedback. And so we're not all about shaking everybody down for money. We appreciate everybody's support. So like for like a week, we were just running it and everybody had pro for free because we forgot to actually put the paywall. And we're like, you know what? Other things are more important than a paywall. Like, we need to make it to where the app runs, like on your last review when it just didn't even run. But long story short, there's a button that you can click and it creates a Next.js build. And you take that build, it's a standard Next.js site, put it wherever you want. Any host that runs Next.js, it'll work, fully dynamic, fully operational. If you want us to host it, you can publish to our hosting environment, which is powered by Vercel. So you'll get all the benefits of Vercel, and you'll get the ability to just click and deploy it.
There are so many things that I need to explore what I'm hearing right now. So I need to explore how Node.js could work, and I need to understand how what Next.js is and how it works together with different kind of environments. Also, seeing hosting environments where you can host Node.js yourself. I can only assume that you need a VPS to set it up, because most hosting companies don't do that for you. You have usually PHP hosting websites, but maybe that's just me being in WordPress space.
It's just you in the WordPress space. Everybody else is like in some of the communities we live in. It'd be comical for their host to support PHP. So it's like the opposite exists. So like in the Vercel world and the Netlify, who is an investor in Clutch, they are all like, you just upload your file and it just works. It's just like actually easier in many ways even than doing PHP based hosting. So there's a lot of hosts that it's like these worlds don't collide. I'll just say that, except WP Engine does have both. WP Engine has a PHP hosting product, and they do have a headless hosting product that will host your Next.js. So they're actually into this whole headless thing pretty deeply.
Yeah, and I know Ostinger has VPS hosting, and a few others probably. What they'll do, if it's not on the edge, it's just going to be a centralized or one single server. So you lose some of the benefits about being in a worldwide, accessible, close to your users.
But it'll still do your image optimization, script optimization. You'll still get a good page speed score, but it just won't get the global benefit.
Yeah, like Vercel or Netlify will have.
Right, exactly. Or even WP Engine's Atlas product.
Atlas. It's nice to know where you could host possibly these kinds of solutions as well, because as you can already tell from me, I don't have a lot of experience with hosting itself. I've built a client-side app a long time ago, with Vue.js, and that just run on the client's machine, so I didn't need to have a lot of server resources or needed anything like Vercel or Netlify to run it.
The good thing about these is they're pretty much zero config. I mean, you pretty much push it up and it works. So like when you click the one-click deploy from Clutch, we build it and we upload it to Vercel, and then now it works. So we charge $20 a month, which has been crazy because a lot of people don't realize how Cadillac that is, like how awesome it is that your site just went to 20 servers. You don't need Cloudflare. It's like we just gave you Cloudflare, but like the pro version. It's got a web application firewall that protects you from bots. It's got all these features, and they're like $20. Can I cram it onto this $5 VPS that I already have 17 other sites on? And we're like, you mean, yeah, technically you can. Should you? Probably not. But anyways, yeah,
depends on your requirements, right?
Yeah, who's the website for? And then anyways. But I don't know. Do you want to? Let's see. We kind of give background, kind of went that. Are we want to do any demos? People might be getting tired of looking at our faces.
I guess so as well. Yeah, you mentioned a nice demo by vibe coding. I mean, that's something that's really important nowadays. I haven't vibe coded up until now, so I am very interested to see you do these kinds of things. And having also a demo for a Clutch. Are you ready for it?
I guess. I mean, I'm just more like, if it crashes, it crashes. I don't care.
It's also during the live stream. It also crashed, so it's fine.
That adds extra crash juice. Yeah. Okay.
But that's something that you also mentioned, and I think that's also very important for the people to know that are watching this. It's still in development, so they are building this openly. So it's usually they have a nice name for it. Build in public. And that's what you guys are doing, which means that when you come across a issue or whatsoever, it's something that could happen because it's still in development. It's still being created. I think, Matthew, that you need to share your screen. Ah, there we go. And with that, it can happen that sometimes some things don't work, but most of the things did look good. And I'm very curious how it will look now. So I will put
Me
this on stream.
also, let me try making my screen resolution bigger. People always complain here. Let me
Know
get
that
this
the
down to
output is 180, 1080. So
Yeah,
yeah,
does that look bigger now?
I think so. Let's
Okay.
Yeah,
also
looks
see.
here.
Okay. All right. I did 1920 by 1080, so we'll try it here. Okay, we'll just create a new project. And there's a few in here now. We had one of the guys from the community cloned Apple's website. So get this one while it's hot before we get the DMCA.
Copyright.
Yeah, strike. There's also a video on how he created it. It's like 2 hours long, but it is a full blown replica of Apple's website with the video, with the scrolling, with everything. And then we got our website, which you can choose from. But why don't we just start a blank project here? And we'll just call this coding or vibing with
Vibe.
What do you think? Is that a good project name?
I hope so.
Vibing with Lex.
Vibe and relax. We're vibing. I should
so
call
whenever-
the Vibe live stream.
We'll do it. So when you start a new project, now we're a desktop app because under the hood, we just now spun up a full set of build tools. You don't know it, but you're running Bun, you're running React, Next.js. All that stuff is all just running under the hood. And
what is Bun?
Bun is like it's like a Swiss Army knife for Node.js. It's to replace kind of like Node.js because I don't know what Node is written in, but this guy was like, all right, not Next.js, for Node.js. He was like, Node is too slow. So I'm going to rewrite all of what's in Node and make a compatible version. And I think he wrote it in, what is it written in, like Rust or something? What all the cool kids write fast things in these days, Bruno? I'm going to get murdered for that one.
It isn't.
What's it
I
written
think
in?
it's in Zig.
Zig. Yeah, I mean, he can't get mad at me. He wrote it in Zig. What the heck is even that? Okay, so he used this Zig programming language to build this to build a Node compatible runtime that's like a whole bunch faster. Anyways, we use it because it's a very performant and it uses less of your system resources. So, long story short, we put together a really nice, extremely high end, extremely forward thinking build tool chain that's running right now on your computer. And so now you can just start immediately vibe coding or doing whatever you need to do. And under the hood, we're writing all the code for you and compiling it with that tool chain, and it outputs live onto the screen. So just to get started, like real simple stuff. When you get started, you have pages, you have sections, you have components, you have queries. Yeah, pulling in data is just another component. It's just another Lego. If you want to get one, you just pull it out, drag and drop it. Actions, Google Analytics is just a component. Like one thing that you start to learn pretty quickly with Clutch is everything is just a component. Google Maps is just a component. GraphQL, getting a lightbox, everything. All right, so we'll just start with just saying like, okay, let's get a nav bar in here. And this is kind of a good place to start because we have a concept of layouts that a lot of other people don't have. And so I'm going to do it the wrong way first. Let's build a page. And first issue of the day right there, nav bar, we'll click and we'll get one in. Okay. And I'm also going to close a few programs on my computer because I'm running, let's see, hopefully we're not in Safari. If we are, I'm going to miss y'all. Oh, whew. All right, close Slack. Okay, there we go. All right. So just try to free up a little bit of resources there. All right, so we have our nav bar, and then we could say like, hey, this isn't anything special. We can get like a header. That looks like a good one, and we'll stick it right here after our nav bar, and so on. And then maybe you would get like a footer. Let's go down. Footers, here we go. And we'll just get the simple footer. We'll stick it there. And we've got a simple site. So these are kind of like Reloom or Brixies or one of those, the like pre-built little sections that are unstyled to help you get going. And we could get into this. This isn't the cool parts of the tool, but our product has a really high-end styling system. It has a Tailwind built in. I do want to call that out because you got confused about this in your video. what the hell are these tokens? I didn't make these. Well, we decided to just go ahead and give you all the Tailwind tokens so that you had something to get started with. And then you can add your own tokens on top. But here's your tokens.
Is it possible to remove Tailwind tokens?
We're making it possible to remove the Tailwind tokens. It is actually installed from Node.js, and then we read the environment and put them in there. You can uninstall it just quickly if you wanted to get rid of them. You always have access to your code by clicking that button there. And we could just come in here and we could go to, let's see, source, and then base global.css, and see it says enable Tailwind. If I'm like, screw you, Tailwind, I don't want you, I can basically do that. And if I come back, my Tailwind tokens should be gone. It might require a reload of the project. Anyways, it probably would require you to actually leave the project and come back in, but Tailwind would disappear. But anyways, there you have it. We don't hide anything from you. So if you want to get rid of Tailwind, you could just do it right there. Okay. But anyways, let's keep going here. So you see it's very powerful. It has support for tokens, creating your own tokens. You can create tokens through here. Here's all the different types of tokens that you can create. It's very comprehensive, and you can create classes, and you can manage your classes here. So from a visual builder perspective, it's on up there with, say, like Webflow and Power. And if you see things like this, you can click on it, and we actually tell you with this inspector where things are coming from, so you can figure all that out. And if you don't know what a property does, say aspect ratio, you can click on it. We give you all of the documentation from MDN, and if you click here, we take you to MDN, so you can read and learn about it, and then you can play with.
That's awesome. That's really missing in most page builders.
Yeah, we want you to go from no code to knowing code. That's one of our kind of mantras. But anyways, I could go into this panel at length, but it's a lot here. We also don't hide code. If you hover things, we kind of tell you what things are powered by. But we really try to build this extremely powerful interface we were designing with the whole power of CSS. But anyway, so that's the style panel. I just figured I'd give people the basics really quick, and you can always get to code right here. But let's say you have this, and then you want to make another page. So we'll go here and we'll insert another page after our home page. And you'll notice that on the new page that gets created, it's blank. Yeah. And so you would say, okay, well, let's go ahead and I would have to repeat my nav bar and stuff. And you probably don't want to do that. So
except for elementary users. So
yeah, we'll go here and we'll add a different header on this page. And by the way, you can also swap to a different header. You can also add more sections here. If you want to kind of do like a section-based page building, you can do it that way. You might be going, well, that's a bummer. I don't want to repeat it. So you can actually do this. Take your nav bar and drag it up into your layout. And we'll take your, and so we're on our layout. We want to put it above the page. Here's your page token. So this is the variable slot where these pages load into this layout. So we'll go back to our header and we'll take the footer. We'll stick the footer in the layout. And that came after the page. That's correct. And now our home page has a header and footer, and our other page has the header and footer, and they're shared. So this layouts concept goes beyond. It goes beyond just being a way to share components. They actually don't reload as you click links. So the header and footer, it knows, are persistent. So it leaves them, and it actually just sends only the data fetch to get what needs to go in the slot in between. So it's extremely powerful, and it helps your performance significantly. But another cool thing about layouts is that we don't make you go to some other interface to make your layouts. We've noticed a lot of visual builders are like, here's where you build layouts, and you have to go to this other whole screen. And then here's where you build your pages. And that's annoying because a lot of times you want to work on your layout in context. In Clutch, if I go to my home page and then I change this and say home page, and then I'm like, but I want this link to go to my home page, I can just click here and type in home. And it just seamlessly transitions between your page and your layout.
That's
so it
nice.
Makes it really easy to work. And then we come here and we hit the up arrow, and we could say set the path, set this to the home page, and then click here. And then this is going to be our about page. Whoops. And then I'll hit the up arrow and then click here and set this to my other page, and I'm done. And now I've got routing, home page, other page, and it's instantaneous. So by having where the layouts and the pages and everything all render together and you can freely click between them, it makes it super fast to do your work. And you can also nest layouts. So if you have like a blog layout that you want to be inside of this layout that has a sidebar that's shared, you can infinitely nest the layouts and create shared pieces that don't reload. So that's kind of pages and layouts.
Looking like a very handy templating system. I really love that you can just easily switch between them and having them instantly changing and making new changes. Never seen that before.
Yeah, this was something that was a big debate. Should we lock it? And when we
Yeah.
did. We actually wrote all the code to lock it down so you couldn't do this. And I was like, why did we do that? We literally locked it because everybody else locked it. And as soon as we unlocked it, it was like the greatest feature ever was when they deleted all that code. I was like, thank
Nice.
you for adding that feature of deleting all the locking. That was the best feature you guys ever added.
I hear Dave Dan also says that looks really nice. No magic areas, so that you can, which he means that it is very easy for you to make those changes and don't have to exit the builder itself or the page where you're working on, just to make a specific change for your navigation or for your footer or whatever. So it's really nice that everything is in one place.
Navigations, footer, everything's a component. Even your pages are a component. Pages are components, layouts are components, components are components. Google Analytics is a component. Like we want to add Google Analytics and we want it on every page. It goes in the layout. It's that simple. We want Google Analytics only on one page, add it to the one page. So we could just go here, insert, I want Google Analytics. Then here's an event example. So if you want to do event tracking, you can drag this out. It'll show you how to do it. But I just want Google Analytics. I'll just stick it above the nav bar because it doesn't actually look like anything anyways. And then I come here and I paste in my GA ID and we got Google Analytics. Just the whole thing. There's no setting screens. These dumb setting screens that are deep. Like where the hell do I find my Google Analytics? It's just a component. Everything's just a component. And that makes it so much nicer. And like you can do the same thing with meta tags. So I can come in here to my components. I think we just have one called SEO and metadata. Here we go. And I just want some metadata. Okay, just pop it here. And then I got my title and my description, or I can pop this open. Icon, Apple icon, open graph, Twitter. Yeah, let's put Twitter on here and then bust this out. And then I set my settings and now I've set my open graph. It's just a component. Well, what if I want different metadata on different pages? Well, fine, stick the metadata on the pages, not the layout. Now you've got metadata on different pages. When you start to kind of realize this, you're like, wait, everything should just be another Lego piece. They should all just be components. It's so much easier. Then it's like, well, what about data? Data, we have two ways. You can actually, if you connect this to WordPress here, and we'll have other connectors in the future, then we actually did build a kind of a way to make this page, the whole page, like represent your blog article page or a single article. I'll let Bruno give a demo of that later. Or if you just want to get some data from somewhere and have it like on a piece of a page, like I just want to make this like my articles list, you can go into your data library, go into your, let's see, where's WordPress library here? Queries, here we go. And then I can add GraphQL or REST. So this would just be any REST to anything with just data on the screen. Or I can say like, I want to get some posts. And I'm not actually going to do this part live, but there it is. There's get posts. And right now it's returning no posts, but I would come in here to my query and I would fill out this form. And it even has a tester that you can use, and you can hit run test, which isn't actually it's going to return nothing. But this is like a postman sort of interface or like a testing interface. And then once it's got the data that you want, it shows up here and then you can loop over it. So even data in our tool is just another component. But that's not what we wanted to talk about. We want to talk about vibe coding, but I wanted to give everybody the background to get you started. So that's Clutch. So long as you know.
I'm very excited when seeing this and how you use it, how you explain it as well. It's very, very well. On top of explaining it, you're doing a killer job on the Clutch YouTube channel as well, where you have these academies and explanations. It's really awesome to have that publicly available.
Yeah, we're trying. It's been a struggle, but we're going to get some new videos out very soon. And you have all these components here, and they're all kind of intentionally minimally designed. So they're as minimally designed as they can be before they stop looking like what they're supposed to be. Like a button looks like this. That's intentional because, it sucks dragging somebody's cool looking button out and then it's like your customer is X, your customer is Y. You got to unstyle the thing before restyling the thing. We found a lot of these kind of like unstyled user interfaces, and that's what we're using. But you can see here we have sheets, sliders, SEO, radio groups, progress bars, labels, forms, form inputs, drop downs, all the basics, Google Maps, which is pretty cool. You can see here, I even dropped a Clutch pen on top of like near where my house is. You can really customize all this. Light boxes. We have a video player. This will be the last one I'll show you before we get in. But I grab this video player here and we'll stick it here. And because one thing people asked us is how composable are your interfaces? And I would just show them this, like every single part of this video player is an independent component.
Oh, awesome.
And so if we twirl this thing open, you've got I can edit the captions. I can edit the buffering indicator, and you can see that the buffering indicator turns on when I click it so that I can work on it. I can control the pause gesture, the full screen gesture area. That's what happens if I double click and it does full screen. I control these open, and you can even get to more and more and more pieces. And so you can really, here, we want to customize this slider range. I don't know why, but we do. And you can just come in and we'll just say like, we want to make it a different color or whatever. I'd actually have to figure out what styling.
I think you might want the slider thumb or the slider track, maybe.
Oh, that's what it is.
And we also disabled Tailwind, or was it enabled again?
No, I left it on. I didn't actually do it. And then you get your sliders. Anyways, I'd have to go through here. Oh, I see why, because it's got Tailwind classes up here. But anyways, you can get to all the individual pieces. We'll pick something.
And then style them. That's awesome.
And then you can style them. Like we're on the video time now. And then you can pick like here, whether or not you want a duration, the current. So everything, and that's just the video player alone is made out of all these parts so that you can really get down and customize everything about it. But
is it possible to expose those components as well on the top level component? The properties?
Yeah, well, it's not actually made into a top level component, but if we did, we would hit create component, and then we would create one out of that. And then let's see. And this is probably where we're going to hit a bug. But here I just created a component out of it.
Yeah.
And it put the whole thing in here, and I probably broke something by doing that. Oh, here it goes. Just needed to think for a second. All right, so now we've crafted a component out of the entire video player. And so now if I go back to the site, it'll look like one part.
Yeah. And I see on the right-hand side.
We did break something. Yeah, and then I would go through here, and you would have now have properties. So, but I'm gonna delete that off the screen. But anyways, that's the idea behind components, is that you kind of craft components out of things, and then you can expose the properties that you want. But with that being said, you guys have seen now components. You've seen that they can be as composable of parts as you want. You can take you can style it all up and make it look awesome, and then you can compose the whole thing into one new, like my video player, like the one that I want, my style that I need. Yeah, specific branding, all that kind of stuff, specific features that you want. But what if you're just like missing a component entirely and it's just not in this list and it's not available on the marketplace where you can go get more? That's where the vibe coding comes in. And again, when we say component, we don't mean just video player. It could be you don't have the analytics platform. You're missing a data connector. They're all just considered components to us. We don't care. Everything is a component. So I don't know. What's the challenge? I don't know why I'm asking what the challenge is, because I could just go do something that I know will work, but screw it. Let's break this thing. Let's crash into Blazing.
We already did one thing that broke down, right? So
yeah. No, let's have some more bugs. Let's see it happen.
I can't think of something. I'm sorry. So maybe you can go ahead.
Let's do this. I found this the other day because we're looking to spritz up our own website, and it's called Magic UI.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at these components in here, and they're pretty cool. Like all kinds of fun stuff. Like one of the ones that I thought was really interesting, and I'm like, I don't even know how that works, is this one called morphing text. Check this thing out.
Ooh,
this
awesome.
This is real text. It's highlightable. Like I couldn't believe it. So what if you're like, I want this Lego, I want this on my website, and we'll make it like do like Lex Clutch or something, we'll just but it's like womp womp because it's code. But it's like, how do I get this code into Clutch, right? Well, this is probably one of the easier things to do. So here's our code editor, and just to show everybody again, we got there by clicking this code button. And there's a couple of ways that we could do this. One is that we could do the manual install, and you're going to see this kind of design pattern on a lot of websites. Magic UI has this. There's another one called Animate UI, and this is a really cool Look at that. Isn't that cool? And you can
That's
see
awesome.
here, same kind of install interface. We can go to browse components, and then you'll see here's the preview, and here's the code, and here's the manual install. So a lot of these websites sort of are following this pattern of distributing their components. So if you see this pattern, then you're going to know how to use this to build Clutch components. All right, but we'll go here because this is the one that I want. By the way, Animate UI, he even joined into the Discord. And he said he'll help us over time. So shout out to him.
That's awesome.
He's gonna help us get the whole Animate UI interface into Clutch, so you'll be able to build with it visually as well. Really nice guy. All right, so how do we? I want this morph text. How the heck do I get this in Clutch? Because it's not a component. And further, how do I get it to where I can act? Because this thing takes a. For those of you who aren't engineers, all that this means, the props are the inputs to the component, so that you can configure it and make different settings. And so it says here that morphing text accepts multiple words to morph together. That makes sense, right? So it's a string array. You don't really need to worry about that. So there's two ways we could do this. We could copy this whole component here, and then we could go to Clutch. And in fact, let's do it the manual way. So we'll do it the manual way. So we'll copy. Okay, very cool. And then I'll come over here. I'll do it where we're going to go to project and React. So say you have no React components in your project, blank. So we're going to hit this plus sign, and we're going to call it morph text create. And this is going to create a template code file. So here's the code file, and here it is. And you can see that this thing here, if I type in hello world and save it, and I come here, you can see that it live renders. And so this is, in fact, indeed
really snappy as well.
Yeah, it's pretty snappy. And I'm going to drag my Clutch window slightly smaller so I can kind of see these. Okay, so you can see that this code is indeed powering this, but that's not exactly what we want. We want this code file to be the morph text from here. So I want to copy this whole thing, and then I'm going to paste the whole thing. And I do realize right now that I named this thing morph text, and then I totally came here, and this thing is named morphing text. So that's easy enough to fix. Where's my code editor was like way off the screen. Snap this here. Okay. And so that's easy enough to fix. We'll just right click and let's see, rename symbol, morph text. Okay. And then the next thing, because we did not use the command line, you might see something like this. So it's got like other libraries that expect to exist that aren't here. And so if you see this one, you can just import CN from class names. And wait, this thing wasn't even using CN? Okay, don't do that. That's my editor being stupid. Import CN from class names. Oh, CN, stop doing that. All right, save, stay. All right. Freaking VS Code. It's trying to overthink what I'm trying to tell it to do. Okay, so now when we do it the other method, it would have installed any libraries that are missing. But again, we said this is the manual way. So what we've done so far is we've copied it and we've pasted it, and this should be export default. No, we'll leave it. I'll show you how to fix this. We'll just do this. Okay, so we've copied and pasted the file, and now you might see that the component was removed here. Don't worry, we can just delete that, and we can go back into our library, project React, and now morph text shows up, and we can just drag it out. And we don't want it in our header, or maybe we do. That might look cool. We'll put it under our heading.
Section. Yeah.
Okay, now it might crash when it comes in because it's missing the texts. Okay, and that's to be expected. Now, the cool thing about Clutch, this is the feature, not a bug, is that we put an error boundary around your component. So this keeps your whole entire project from crashing on you. And so you can just come right here and be like, all right, what's going on? And it's going to say, it can't read properties of undefined. Oh, it's expecting the texts, and we didn't give it any. But check this out. It built this interface for us, morph text, and it takes in texts. Where did that come from? If we go down here, texts. Oh, it's the properties. So Clutch reads the code that we wrote and tries to build you an interface to your code that's like designer friendly. So we open
It's
this up.
awesome.
And look at this. It's an array. And I can hit add item. We can do Lex. And then we can do clutch. And now we close this out and refresh. And it works. So now we have a reusable Lego piece straight from the internet. And
Open source and free to use. And
open source and free to use.
That's really saving a lot of people a lot of money. This is awesome.
And so we could go get a different one and do it the other way. Let's see. Let's flip text. I mean, that's cool. Let's do something cooler though. I think there was these cards. Not this one. Yeah, this one was cool. Check this one out.
Border beam. Nice.
Border beam, right? That's pretty cool. But let's do it the kind of slightly more automated way. I don't even know that I recommend this because it's gonna it might actually and you can do like 2 border beams, make it do all kinds of stuff.
Layer, nice.
Yeah. Okay. I like this one. So I'll show you how to do this one. So in this case, this website has an error. There should be a space here. So Magic UI, if you watch this video, and you probably won't, but if you do, you don't know who we are, fix this. This is just a complete error. That should not be there. We're going to copy this because we use bun. So if you do this, use the bun version. Mm-hmm. Copy. And now what we'll do is we'll come over here to clutch. And this time we don't need to use clutch to create the component ahead of time. We're going to open up the command line. So you can use your command line wherever it is. You need to be inside of your project. In our case, vibing with Lex. You can see there. We're going to remove this mistake. It should be bunx. Other websites don't have that mistake. That's just the Magic UI website does that for some stupid reason. Mm-hmm. And then a few things to check. Bunx, Shadson at latest is good. And then it's going to add this component straight from this URL. And this is probably not going to work, but let's give it a go.
And to understand Shadson at latest, that is a library where this component is reliant on, right? So it's like an extra plugin.
Exactly. And so we're going to say, hey, you want to proceed? And hey, if you want to be extra careful, I'll show you guys something. We have visual version control. So if you're just afraid about borking your project, do this first. Hit commit here and set, I am about to install random crap from the internet via command line checkpoint. Checkpoint it. Who knows what this is about to do, right?
Yeah,
right. Checkpoint. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to hit yes, let's go. And then it's going to say, okay, the way that Shadson works, and there's a lot of these libraries that have these Shadson links that you can just inject. It operates off of a color scheme. And if you want it to kind of remain this kind of like black and white thing, go with neutral. Mm-hmm. And so it's basically, it runs through that whole process once. And you can see here, it just created source components Magic UI border beam right into my project. And with this one, it usually works immediately. And so we can just check it really quick and it looks like it's good to go. And one thing I kind of like to do is go to these things called boards, which are these infinite canvases to tinker around. Now, I do have one sneaking suspicion here. Yep, I knew this was coming because I think this is something that it does. This is not our fault. This is it sometimes doesn't install this Tailwind animate thing. And that being said, I don't think we need it. Let me go look here. So you have 2 options here. You can either come down here and type in bun add TW animate, because this is a glitch with Shadson. I don't know why it does this. Or we can come into our globals.css file and come here to this and just comment that out. And if we do that and we come here and we refresh, we might need to do a harder refresh. It should start working. So you guys are seeing it in all of its glory. This is part of being a real developer. Sometimes you gotta kind of resolve things like that. All right, we're back in business, boys. That was all that it was. Okay, so that you saw, we actually showed you the error on the canvas to tell you what the issue was. And it said, hey, we can't find Tailwind animate in your globals file. So my options there, just for everybody watching, was to either be like, I don't need the Tailwind animate thing because that's just something that Shadson claims that it needs. I can comment it out. Or I could come down here and type in bun add TW-animate and what doesn't matter. I don't need to spell it properly. I'm not going to do it. Animate, CSS. And if I hit enter, then that package would be installed, and then that thing would work. But we don't need it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's add a. Let's go here and let's just add a block onto our canvas. And I like this because I like this freedom mode to test things. I like to kind of like build my pieces here and then take them over to my website. And now we'll come here and we'll insert our beam, which should be in Project React Border Beam. And there it is. It shows right up, even though we didn't have to create the file this time. And we'll pop it in here. And look, we have a border beam.
That's awesome.
So let's go to our border beam. In fact, I'm going to do something out here. I'm going to put this preview class because, no, we'll leave it. Okay. We'll go to our border beam and we can now see all the properties. It just came with all these straight from the code. So it's like, dang, okay, let's make the border beam huge. Let's make it like 500. And then you can see what that did. Now our border beam is huge, yeah. And then you can come in here and go, okay. And look, they came with documentation even, which is crazy because we read the documentation in the code. So if the developer of the component put documentation in there, it becomes available to us. You can set a from color. And look, we even know that it's a color and we give you a color picker. So we'll make it go from, I don't know, this shade of blue. And we'll do like a color 2 to a purple. That's cool. Look, and it worked.
And there you have your border. That's awesome.
And one last thing we could do, just make it visible. It is annoying me that I put it on this component where our frame kind of is hitting it a little bit. I think on here, it might not have been this one. Oh, there's an offset. There's a transition. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You can play with it. One of these, you could make it actually thicker. And so you can see how easy that is. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, we have a border beam. Let's go back to, and what we can do here is if we like this particular border beam that we've tricked out with our colors and made the tail really long, we can do this. We can go to our components and make a new component space. We'll call this, it's a code component. We'll call this my border beam. And we'll go over here to our boards because these are kind of like little temporary spaces. We are about to combine these concepts, by the way.
That's awesome.
We do realize that they're a little bit redundant, but here we go.
Yeah.
And copied and pasted it here. And what we'll do is we'll come in here to my border beam and we will hit add to library. And you get a little library icon. And now I can go to my site and let's put the border beam around this morph text. And so we can go to our components and look, we have my border beam now. And look at this, it animates in the library and everything.
It already shows up.
Yep, and we'll stick it in here with this morph text. And I think all that we would need to do is like put both of these in a box together.
So it has an edge to run over.
Let's see. Oh, it might need to be in a block or something. I don't know. Oh, where did I go? Here we are. Homepage, border beam. Let's see. Block.
Maybe a position relative on the block.
Maybe. Bruno, you're so smart. I'm glad you're on this call. Look at that thing.
It's beaming the border. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. You can pull any component that you want from the internet. It's a React component. And now you've got like Lego pieces. We just combined two pieces from the internet together to make this ridiculous thing. But the sky's the limit of what you can actually pull. So I don't know. Any other things, Lex, that you can think of?
I would wonder how this will be pushed to a live site. How does that look?
Publish, and we'll just push to staging.
Okay.
And in a second, we'll have a live site. It's the same thing to go to production. It's just you would need to set up a DNS, but we'll give you one on Vercel app. And you can also publish your project as a library. So this border beam and this other thing that we put in the library, once it's actually like in the project library like this, then let's say that you want to make like a project that houses all of your cool components, and then you either want to share it with others or you just want to install it within your own other projects. You can do that by clicking publish as a library. This will create an NPM package out of it, and then it'll let you install this package into other ones. So to show you what that looks like, if we come to our marketplace, which right now is just our docs, but we're going to build a better one soon. And let's say, okay, we want Zapier, and I don't think we have Zapier. Yeah, we don't have Zapier installed, and I want to use Zapier. So now I can hit install the Zapier library, allow. It'll just, that's what that link does. It does that whole thing, and I'll hit install, and it'll install Zapier into here. And once this is done installing, I will then have, yep, it's done. I now have access to use Zapier, just like that.
Within the application. That's awesome.
So you can create your own.
So refreshing to see this.
You can create, so you could create one called Lex's Awesome Components.
Yeah.
Through that process I just showed you, you could wrap all of Magic UI probably in less than a day, or all of Animate UI in less than a day, with full-blown properties and docs. I mean, you saw it's pretty much designer friendly. It's not. Yeah. We did need to know one thing, which is to make it position relative. But if I would have read the docs over here, it probably told you that somewhere. Probably in here, if you read this, I'm sure that like the card or something has relative on it, and then you would have known. Oh, I need to make it.
Need to add it.
Relative. Yeah. Right here. See, usage. Burno was right.
Yeah.
Relative. So now that you know that, and you see, and you can read the docs, and down here you can read all of this, but all of these descriptions and everything get sucked right into Clutch as well. So the only part that we obviously can't do is, yep. And then you publish it as a library, and then you could get on our Clutch Discord, send it to your friends, tweet it out. Hey, everybody, install Clutch's, awesome components. They would go click, 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 and then they would insert, and it would show up as a list.
It's really awesome to see how this is possible to just add a library that you quite possibly are used to using within React or a Vue.js app, and then have a very simple way to create and integrate it. It's so refreshing to see this.
Here we go. Oh, it's missing. Interesting.
Motion React pictures.
Okay, so let's go here. It's interesting that it needs Motion React, but it doesn't actually need it. It's like it's saying that it does. But that's easy enough. We just do bun, add, motion.
It's motion/React, right?
Yeah, but the package is just called motion.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we bun added that. And so publish the second time will probably work. That's something that's kind of cool. If you do run into a bug or some kind of glitch, because we do open up a lot of freedom to you. It's not like when you're hacking away at a WordPress site, you don't accidentally break something and then you have to read. So this is not, we don't put you so far on rails that you're not able to shoot yourself in the foot. But we do give you this visual version control that allows you to travel back in time and like Git, but without having to know Git. And if something does go wrong, we try to tell you what it is. And if you don't know what all this means, you could copy this and give it to ChatGPT and go, ChatGPT,
we'll fix it.
What happened? And it would tell you, and then you could fix it easily. So we'll watch this go. Burno, why don't you join this project?
I also want to be a little bit wary of your time. We're over 1 hour. Okay. We're even almost 1 hour and 20 minutes. How much time do you guys have?
We're probably just a little bit more. I did want to let Burno show how the data connection piece works, but also one more cool thing, which is that this is multiplayer. So Burno can join this project with me at the same time. And so Burno, do you have access to this one? I see that your screen got really bright in your face. So.
I just got sunlight.
And maybe just make a change. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So we can multiplayer, and if we come up into here, I can now see he's shown up, and our changes will naturally merge together. So we don't have to worry about merge conflicts or anything. It operates on the same kind of like operational transform system that Google Docs uses. So basically the whole thing is like a big Google Doc. We can both kind of operate at the same time. And let's see, okay, this one did work. So that did fix it. And if we go here we are, we're live on the internet. And look, it's like blazing fast.
Yeah, it's instant. Even with all the animations happening, which are a little bit of CSS animations, but awesome.
All right, so all that's it for me on the demos. Maybe Bruno can spend like 10 minutes. We can connect to some kind of API, show how the data flow works, because that's a big topic. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, let me share mine.
Like, how do I stop sharing? Stop. Oh, wrong button.
And people who are watching the live stream, I would love to know what you think of Clutch, and if you have any questions for later this live stream, maybe. Let's see.
Should probably use the other screen, so give me a sec.
You can start a new project, by the way. You don't have to keep going off of the Lex Clutch video.
It's fine. We'll do everything on the same one. All right, so I guess connecting to WordPress data, so we've been doing a lot of...
1 minute, please. I need to make changes because...
do you need me to share some other way?
No, he needs to make it bigger. He's doing it.
Yeah. Let's see. It's a little bit out of the boundary box. Let's see. I guess this is good enough. Yeah.
Good. So yeah, to connect and get data from your WordPress instance, you can see this WordPress icon on top as a red circle on it, meaning it's still not a valid connection. So you can learn on how to, this connection guide. You'll actually need to just type, I have a local instance, so let's do clutch.local and connect. I already have it set up, although it's going to ask you to install the Clutch plugin, which essentially just adds some protected REST routes to get data more efficiently and do some caching validation and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, it's just setting up the endpoint, installing the plugin on the WordPress side, and that's pretty much it. You're ready to go for and get data to this page. So let's set a new page. And when you add a new page, you can see here it has a template property on the page that essentially can select a WordPress page template. And we have a few options here. We can set it to front page, to search page, a found author, and either a post type or a taxonomy kind of page, which can be an archive, for example, for a post, can be an archive page, can be a page template for any post or for a specific one if you need to. So let's do, for example, let's do these movies and we'll do the archive. Now, nothing really shows up immediately, but what we want is to list the movies information that we're getting. So first thing is adding, sorry, not a data, but a loop, because we want to create a list out of the data that we have. So on these items, gonna see what I'm getting. Seems like we don't have the latest WordPress installed, so let's do that real quick. So on the settings libraries, you can see all that is installed.
These are like plugins. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do an update. It actually is not showing me the 2.0 version. which is the latest one. I wanted to show a little bit the filtering system, but we can for sure do it through here. So yeah, ignore this part.
Yeah, we don't see the code editor, only.
Oh, my bad.
only
Yeah,
Clutch
it's
windows.
force ignoring. Don't worry, we are ignoring it.
Yeah,
So
I
fun.
knew. No, I knew.
I mean, what are you talking about? It looks like it's just working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing's happening.
Uh-huh.
It's all good.
No, it's essentially just setting the WordPress library to the 2.0 version.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure why it didn't suggest me to update to that, but we'll get that sorted out.
Because it's a beta tool, that's why.
Yeah. And let's redo these. And insert the page. And my library's gone, so I guess I'll I'll just use the old one and create a new project. Seems like we have an issue there. So connecting WordPress. So you can get a fresh start.
Sometimes you just need a freshie.
Yeah. Clutch.local, ready. And now on this page, let's do the movies archive. And now the loop, let's set it to the, here you can see movies archive data that is flowing in.
Yeah.
We want to bind to the data list. And then here, let's just add a text and do a bind. And we can see from loop, we're getting an item, and that item is each movie. So the loop is basically iterating over the movies list. And then on each loop item, we want the title.
Yeah. You already saw an example as well.
Yeah, let's wrap this into a column. And we have our 3 movies. And we can see all the data that these posts are getting, some ACF fields, some custom taxonomies that they have, like the genre with it's an horror movie, apparently. So you can keep building. You can keep building on top of these. You can also let's do a any movie. So it's going to be a single page for a movie.
Nice.
And then let's add a text. In this case, we don't need a loop. And on the movie data, we can see all the information about the movie, the current movie. So let's just pick the title, and we're on third movie. On the any post page templates, we give you a picker here, so you can actually change and switch between the different movies different posts that you have in your WordPress instance. And if you click on edit in WordPress, it will.
You have to share your whole screen for that if you're going to share it, or you can just promise us that it works. We promise that it works. If you click that, WordPress opens to edit that.
The specific article.
Trust us, bro.
I should have shared the entire screen.
That's
for
the
sure.
best. The best guarantee that you can give, right? The trust me, bro guarantee.
Yeah. Anything in particular that you want to see? I wanted to show filters, but I guess we'll leave that for a different day.
Yeah, I mean, filters are pretty easy. I mean, you just I kind of showed it earlier on the call, but once you actually drag a data or you mess those data, it'll just give you a huge list of filters.
Well, I guess I can change. I can show the WordPress library itself.
Okay.
And this one will have the latest goodies, because it's the actual project where we're building the WordPress library. So anything you're consuming in Clutch has been done in a Clutch project too. So all the elements, all the data, connections and stuff like that. So let's see what I have here, because it's just a bunch of testing things. And seems like it's broken here too, so we won't be able to show that.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, well, trust us, bro. By the time you watch this video, unless you're live streaming it, the filtering will be working. But it looked how it looked on my screen earlier. It just gives you a long form that's got like less than, greater than, search for, search like, whatever. And then whatever you type into those fields is how it filters the data down, and you can bind it. But this probably isn't much of a training, more just kind of like seeing how it all works.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
For training, we'll be releasing videos on our YouTube that will go over all this, but probably by next week, this stuff will be nice and stable, and you'll have this nice interface between Clutch and WordPress where you can jump between the two, edit in WordPress, pick the post that you want to preview with, do filtering, and we're going to be releasing a template. Just open up that template project really quick. That's the real estate site. We have this template that we're going to be releasing that's basically like a full-blown real estate site that's got all the filters on it. Go to the Clutch org, and it's that one, second row all the way to the left. That one will work. Yeah. The one that says finalcopy.psd 2005. All right. So this, this will get released. I don't know what's going on. I think it works on my machine, bro. But we'll be releasing this template. That's nice, and it's blank right now. Anyways, we'll go back out real quick. Isn't there a different copy there? Don't open that one. Okay. Well, it'll look like a real estate site, and it'll have a full search bar. It'll have categorization, all that. So we plan to have that done by the end of the week, and a video of how to build it. So at that point, you'll know how to build a full-blown search, directory listing, categorization, all of that, and we'll be releasing that to the community. That's probably a good place to end it.
Not a great final demo.
That's all right. The stream is not working for me anymore. We lost Lex.
It just says now.
What's up?
The internet went away, and I couldn't get into it to this anymore. I don't know what happened.
Oh well, I think
all good.
The stream. Okay. Well, we pretty much got to the end. So
all right.
Yeah.
I saw on my second screen that the stream still could continue. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Even I have errors sometimes, so it's what happens, right?
All good.
I'm so very excited on seeing all these kinds of things that you have shown this live stream, and very excited about Clutch and how it will move forward. For people that are also excited about this one, I'm very curious where they can follow you and get experience Clutch for themselves.
I mean, they can get it right from the website. It's free for everybody to download and use. And then I highly recommend joining our Discord channel because it's extremely active. People are helping each other out. We're helping everybody out in there. We're listening to everybody's feedback that's happening in there. And so our goal right now isn't to just go charge a whole bunch of money and all that kind of stuff. If you want to buy our LTD, that's nice. We appreciate the support. Right now, it's just about building a great product. So we just want everybody to come in, kick the tires, and say, hey, if Clutch did this, I would use it. And then our team's going to work hard to make all those things happen. And hopefully in the coming weeks and months, the tool starts to stabilize and mature into something that's helpful and good. So that's it.
That's nice. I put the website on the site right there, so you can see that at least and know where to find it. I want to thank both of you for showing this and taking your time to do this live stream. And I hope to have you again on the live stream someday. So if you would like to, please let me know.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for joining, even though it sounds like you need some chicken soup.
I'm
better
having
soon, dude.
such a bad cold. Yeah, for sure. It's
All
what
right,
happens
man.
when you get when you have young kids, I guess, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Get a
Well,
lot of
awesome,
food
man.
fences.
That's true. You're gonna have the immune system of a tank. Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we
All
appreciate
right.
it, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you so much.
As always, keep designing. See you.